Hey guys, welcome back to The Break. Today, it's Alex and I talking about pitching. This is something that everybody who is in a startup sees as it could be a daunting task or really exciting. You do a whole bunch of different kinds of prep to get ready for a pitch. There's different ways to construct your pitch deck. And Alex is a pro at this. We've been doing it now for, I guess, the better part of a year.
Yeah.
And have won several competitions. And there's kind of a good formula to go into a pitch with. You have to realize who your audience is, who the panels are, and what they want to take out of what you're saying. Normally, you only have, like, how long is it? 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe in some cases 10 minutes, but still, yeah.
And half of it, when it's the longer one, I think half of it is you talking. Sometimes there's a video involved. It could be structured differently. We've been to some that are just really zany, and other ones are more cookie cutter template types of pitches. But what we wanted to do today is kind of just go over quickly how Alex preps for one, what you should include and what you maybe should not include in the pitch deck or what you're saying, and how to get your damn point across quick, concise, everything that Neil was saying in the last podcast.
I think in general, and you hit it, it's like knowing the audience at first. I think for us specifically, we've done probably at this point tens of maybe even 20 type pitch competitions, both here in California and across over in New York. And I think understanding exactly who you're talking to initially is probably the best case at first.
Yes.
Because if you're talking to, let's say, Harvard, business grads versus just kind of a mom and pop who is looking into angel investment, that's a different structure, and they're going to want to see different things. When you go to, let's say, a real structured pitch competition, that's also completely different, right? Yeah. Because you want to get across your point as quickly, as effectively, and as clear as possible. We've done a few where it was kind of our tests, right? Mm-hmm. And we realized very quickly, after the second or third slide, people are like, well, wait, this is travel related, or what exactly do you guys do? It's not specific to the point. And I think when we've learned, it really comes down to just identifying what you want someone to view your company as. Mm-hmm. So if you're selling, let's say, trash, or if you're selling, let's say, I don't know.
And we only say trash because we had a company like that. He's not saying, are you selling trash?
Not trash, not trash.
You could have chose any word.
Okay, yeah. I guess if you're selling a product, not trash.
Right.
But if you're selling a product, let's say a small little widget or a pen thing, you want someone to understand exactly why they need it, and what you guys are doing differently than everybody across, right? I think the second piece outside of just being clear is getting it super, super sleek. It needs to look beautiful. If you're not proud of what you're actually presenting, then you should probably go back and refine your pitch a bit more. Mm-hmm. I've seen pitches where someone comes up and there's not even a screen or even, I guess you could say, like a slide deck, right? And they could actually just portray what they want. And I think that that's good. Just in terms of somebody talking through their business. But in most cases, anybody who goes to a pitch competition wants to see the product. They want to see exactly what you're doing, and they want to feel what you guys have been working on, really. Right. How have you seen it, I guess?
Yeah, so more of the times, Alex is the one that basically presents all the pitches. For me, sitting in the audience, watching you do it or other companies, literally in the first 2 slides, if you're not saying exactly what your company is and does, get off the stage, because honestly, nobody gives a shit anymore. It's if you're not so clear in the beginning, this is the problem, this is our solution. That's it. That's basically the whole point of a pitch competition. What are you solving? And if you can't get somebody's attention immediately and say, oh, okay, that is a problem, and that's a pretty good solution. That's what I've seen immediately. There's companies that they go through the 5-10 minutes, and I still don't even know what the hell they're doing. And I'm looking around, and other people are either in the same boat as me or are just like spaced out.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
And I think it also comes down to how you present, right? And I think, personally speaking, I think I do a pretty good job in just representing Elude in general. But I think when you have different CEOs or people who, come on and try to pitch their company, they really need to they basically need to have a communication class, right?
You have to speak clearly.
Yep.
You can't mumble around words. You have to be so focused on what your company does and live and breathe it in that short amount of time that if you're not, there's a dissociation with you and whatever you're trying to do.
And
it's crazy.
And one huge piece of advice to anybody who is either looking into pitching or maybe is about to pitch, practice. You have no idea how many people. So let's say it's a 4-minute pitch, right? I mean, I've done it, and you've heard me probably countless times, 2 or 3 times beforehand. I mean, right now, if I get onto a stage, I can go literally right this second and have a 4 or 5 or 10-minute pitch. And
I know exactly what that time is.
And what that actually allocates, right? And I think other people who come on, that's a huge plus when either first starting to pitch or even if you're an experienced pitcher, right? Know exactly what that 4-minute pitch looks like, what the 5-minute pitch looks like, what you can start to include, and kind of shape what you're going to actually say before you say it.
Exactly.
And then third, definitely get feedback. And some of the pitch competitions that we've been to have been great because on the end of your pitch, there's actually a kind of a round robin approach where, everybody gives their 2 cents. Now, mind you, understand that that's coming from a good place or a bad place, right? And any type of feedback is good feedback, but understand that you can actually get that feedback and do something with it, right?
Well, you should, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the audience, what we typically do before a pitch, you see who the panel is. It's either CEOs, CMOs, or whatever of companies, or if it's a VC funded, head or something like that. You kind of know who you're talking to. Then you have to realize what information that they're going to want to know. So in that short amount of time, that's why you have to practice, because when you practice, okay, I'm spending 2 minutes just describing what this company does. No, it should be 10, 15 seconds, and then you start about your plan and everything else. And if it's a type of audience that wants to know revenue and how you make money and what 10 years from now is going to look like, then you have to build that in. And that's where practice comes from, because if you only have 5 minutes, you need to allocate your time so precisely and get your point across. And we've done it. And that's why you have to practice and say, okay, am I taking too long in this part? Or, I didn't even get to this. And I think this is probably the most important thing in there.
And I think in general, right, and like not just specific to pitching, but I think when you're having a conversation with someone, right, you need to condense all of what actually happens in a day-to-day life down to 4 or 5 minutes, right? So you need to be clear, you need to be concise, but most importantly, you need to have them understand what you actually do. And so, we've seen this with different businesses, right, or different judges where we've done research beforehand, understood, okay, these are the guys who invested in X, or they've exited Y, and we could actually go up to them afterwards and say, hey, I know this didn't come across in the pitch, but we're looking to partner with you guys or do this, and it's actually a huge benefit to understand that as opposed to just getting thrown in.
The other thing too, the point of a pitch competition, it's to win and get your idea across, but the point is also the people in the audience, the VC companies, the angels, the board, you want to get a meeting with them.
That's the goal.
You don't want to spell out your whole entire thing. You're giving them just enough to be hungry for more. That's it. So when you're going through and structuring it out, take everything the hell off of the slides that doesn't have to be there. Graphs, numbers, things like that, take it the hell off. We don't care about that right then. What we care about are just the bold words, problem, solution, how you make money. And if it's one of the pitches where you have to ask for something like, okay, we're raising this much money and it's going here, then put that in there. Anything the hell else, delete it. It does not matter. We don't care about the story. We don't care about the other bull crap. They don't either. They want to get right to it and see if if their time is better spent talking with you afterwards.
And I think too, when going to a pitch competition, you need to have all of that kind of in the back, right? You don't want to showcase all of those, and you don't want anybody to poke holes in your questions, right? So you want to have it at the ready where someone asks you a question about, what your burn rate is and what you're
because
doing
afterwards,
here.
So normally what happened a few times afterwards in San Francisco in particular, right after you pitched, then they ask questions.
Yep.
You don't need those answers on the slides. Have them in your brain. You do.
Yeah.
And when they go bang out the questions, what's your, whatever it is, and you just have the answer. It's not on the slides. It's not on the pitch. It doesn't have to be there. You have to know it. but you don't have to present it.
We've gotten down to a point now too where we've done this many of times, and we've now created slides to answer those questions so that let's say somebody has a competition, right? That's not something that you need to identify in a 4-minute pitch. They'll understand that just by you.
They're going to know there's
industry.
competition. Yep. Do you need to highlight it in a pitch competition?
No. But if somebody does ask, you have it on the back, whether it's an appendix, and you can say, hey, actually jump to 13. That's where our competition is. Yeah. And then somebody will be like, wow, these guys came prepared. And it's the confidence aspect too, where when you present, it's not just getting yourself clear, but in some cases, it's 5-10 different companies. You need to stand out. Now, I know for us, there have been companies that we've been pitching next to, right, that are making $1 million a year already. And I think understanding that that actually doesn't matter when it comes down to a pitch competition. It's, does your business make sound sense? And can this person actually showcase their business the right way?
Exactly. And for us in particular with Elude, the travel company, what rings true for us is community. We're pre-revenue right now. Yep. But we have a gigantic community that as soon as our product is available, it's turned on. And that's what's attractive to investors, to whatever. But during that pitch, only focus on what you have to and delete everything else. You want to be clean. You want to be crystal clear. And now it's like distilled to, a point where we get all that information across and people are starving for more. So they ask questions, they make meetings afterwards. That's the point.
And I would just say to wrap it up in a nice bow is, you never want to be unprepared for a pitch. And so let's say any entrepreneur that is either just starting out, or maybe they do have a few pitches in the next few weeks or months, have it already done so that you don't need to worry about this, because we've been in situations too where we realized that we're in a pitch or we applied to get into a pitch competition and we got selected a day or two before. You should always have those pitches and those decks already created so that you just know, okay, now again, I'm on my 4-minute pitch this one, or is this one 5 minutes?
Right. And we have a bunch of different presentations already set up. Some that are gigantic that when you go into a boardroom meeting with people, you have literally everything outlined out. But when it's a 4, 5, 10-minute thing, obviously it's not going to have everything. So you need those different ones prepped. You need to have them rehearsed and everything like that, so you can just jump in and know exactly what you're supposed to do.
And you highlighted this too about they ask, right? In many cases, when you're going to a pitch competition, it is about, okay, what are you going out for, right? You're either fundraising or you're about to fundraise and you're trying to test, how much you should be going out. Right. So for us too, on that last slide of, what do we need in order to bring us to the next level? Always have that be a variant, and always have a few different, decks that have, maybe it's a few 100,000, maybe it's a few million. Again, whatever your business is going after, you need to know who that is tailor-made for, right? So if all of the judges or all of the people who are attending only write $25,000, $50,000 checks, you need to gear it towards, okay, back yourself into the number that makes sense to them, but also gear the conversation more towards
and that's all in the research phase. Yep. That's why you look up who's going to be there, what type of companies you're speaking with. And I know we only have a couple minutes left for this one, but let's talk about winning. Yep. Sometimes there's different prizes associated with it. I know we've gotten meetings with companies through it, or you get cloud access to different things. There's some cool perks.
Even
go over some of those.
Yeah. So I guess there's definitely an array of different prizes. I guess at the lowest end, right, it's just practice. That's the best case, is if you're getting out there and you're putting yourself out on that platform. That's amazing. And I think every entrepreneur needs to feel a pitch, because it's different than just trying to give your company or provide details with a conversation.
Plus, it also the other companies pitching know you now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's networking in itself, because when something comes up, I remember this other company that was pitching for daycare things. Yeah. I'll shoot this over to them.
Connect you guys.
Yeah. It's a really cool networking.
So I think, from a prize point of view, definitely just practice is probably the lowest end. Next, I would definitely highlight the networking aspect. So whether that's entrepreneurs or just in general, different, VCs or connections that, or angels, just getting in front of them, I think, is really amazing. We've gotten, when it comes to the physical prize, AWS cloud services. We have, there's some PR related aspect where, maybe you get something, published about you guys. Right. Also too, there's a lot of pitch competitions, and check them out, that actually give cash prize with zero equity. Yep. So that could be $5, $10, $15, $25,000, whatever it may be. And then I think really getting into more or less like the top tier of, I know what we look for in a prize, right, is getting and landing that next meeting.
That meeting is the biggest thing.
That's it. And I think, ironically, we've been in situations where we've made connections to people that would probably never be on our radar. These are people who are there in the audience. So they're not even judges. They're just people who, whether they're lawyers or different entrepreneurs. And that has provided us value down the line. And so I think when you do go into those type of communities, always just be present and be aware of, everybody's in that same boat, and just network with people. Yeah,
especially afterwards. Winning is great.
Yeah,
of course you want to win it. But sometimes the biggest thing comes afterwards. Hang around, mingle, because maybe you left an impact with somebody that's sitting in the audience that knows a VC firm or that works for something that they can help you with, and now they want to help you because they've seen you pitch, they like your idea. Whether you won or not, doesn't really make a difference at that point. Yeah. But it's networking. So get out there, do as many as you can. I think all the ones that we've done, I don't know if we've paid for them. I know there's paid to pitch things.
Yeah.
I don't know about those. I'd research them, see if other companies have used it.
I guess, what do you think about that? Here's a pro tip for any, and I don't want to say real entrepreneur, because I don't want to get people to feel one way or another if they do actually pay for a pitch. We've never really paid for any pitch. I think in general, we either reach back out and say, hey, look, we're entrepreneurs and we're looking to get exposure. Do you have a promo code? I've always asked for a promo code. And if you ask, in many cases, in our case, we've always received and say, here's 100% off. And, and in some cases, it's really just because they're buying food or drinks, and they need to cover the cost.
Normally they're catered. It's,
so it's not like involved. A rip-off thing. It's just more of like, they got to keep the lights on. Yeah, they got to keep the lights on. But I think the best and the most kind of established ones don't really ask. They're more about, bringing people together on a community aspect and, getting people to practice.
Yeah. And so we can leave it off with this. Where does somebody find pitch competitions?
Yeah. So definitely just search in general, like your location. So I know New York, Startup Boost was huge for us. I'll tag Jason, who's a really awesome guy. Over here in California, Pitch Global or Pitch Force Global has been huge. We've been to a few of those. And just in general, I guess you could say be specific about your industry, right? Because
that's true too,
outside of just landscape of, where you are in the world, it needs to be focused on what you're doing. You don't want to, go to an automotive pitch competition if you're not in the car industry, space. And so just start researching that. We'll put some links on below too about, where we find ones here in California and over in New York. And then ironically, when we do travel back to New York, I think we have one or two more. Just again, you may not know that yet, but I like to just continuously pitch. I think, even after, and I think that's something that we could wrap it up with as well, is that I think just in general, yes, the idea behind pitching is to either raise funds or get your business exposed in some capacity. But even if you do both of that, right? Even if you get your business exposed and you build and raise money, continue doing it, because as a founder, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur in general, you're always on the go, and your story of your company is always shifting, right? Like we pitched 3 months ago, and I mean, the amount of difference of our business now versus then has changed. And so it's a different storyline, and you test the waters with what's working.
Exactly. Yeah. So check out the links below. If you guys have any pitch competitions coming up, leave them in the comments. We can maybe help you out with some pointers.
Pointers or how to condense down to your business in a 4, 5, 6 presentation pitch. So.
And practice.
Definitely.
So thanks guys for checking us out. We will see you in the next
breakdown.
All right.